we want to now look at the energy of your civilization in present day. What's going on with polarity? So as we look at your world from above, from bird's eye view, we see one very strong polarity. And we would say it's the one right now that concerns us the most. And it has to do with those who are expressing contraction versus those who are expressing expansion. What do we mean by that? Those who express contraction are those that do not want change, that value safety and security above all else, that want to feed the ego need for control and domination, and that will not look at new ideas. So there's no connection with the spirit, there's no trust, there's just, I have to protect what is here now. Then you have the other side of the coin. The energy of the desire to expand, to try new things, to disassemble old structures, to trust and move into the unknown, to not give in to the ego's demands. And these two forces are at war right now. If you look in your society structures, you see them in your politics. You see them in your business structures. You tend to see those ideas in a lot of the monetary foundation of your planet. Now, it's important to understand that these two forces, yes, they exist in society, but that's an outer manifestation. These two forces also exist within the human consciousness. And we suspect most of you listening to us tonight know what we're talking about with this. For you can see in yourself the things you cling to make you feel safe, the places where you are afraid to grow, and yet the yearning to grow, the yearning of the spirit to jump into the unknown, the yearning for complete transformation. So these two forces that you see within your society and your businesses and your economic structures, they're really coming from your own psyche. So which one will win? Well, much like what we've said about Orion and about the nature of conflict, there's really no such thing as winning. Because if you were to say that the contractionist view would win, then you recreate the Orion Empire. If you say the expansionist view would win, then you create a very ungrounded and perhaps unwise type of society. So the answer is not ever in one of the polarities being the one that is right. Look at the energy lesson from Orion. The coming together of those two polarities, creating the singularity, and then creating transformation. But you on Earth don't have that type of intensity of polarity. So how can you foster this transformation? Well, it's going to have to come from within, as everything has to come from within, which means finding a way within yourself to marry those two opposites, contractionist and expansionist. How can you learn to value both parts of you? How can you learn to not be afraid of either? How can you embrace both? Because the expansionist can be the guiding light to move you into the future. So the expansionist is the guiding light, but the contractionist is the pragmatist. And there's a place for both. And so taking this then to the human level, we ask you to think about how you can do this within yourself and in your life, because at that level is where the seeds get planted. And from that level, those seeds sprout, and then they spread throughout society. Everyone might not transform their consciousness, but enough has to. Otherwise, this alchemy cannot be activated. So we would recommend that this become your homework in some way, your personal work. to really become familiar with both the contractionist and expansionist aspects of yourself, and then from that familiarity, begin to appreciate both, but yet also with clear eyes but no judgment, find what aspects need to change, what stops you from growth, or what gets you into trouble with too much enthusiasm perhaps. Begin as best as you can looking at yourself with clear and non-judgmental eyes, and become like the elephant who one day realizes that they are keeping themselves chained to the pole. And when you're ready, walk away from the pole. But there's no judgment, there's no shame in these things. When you have a collective society all doing this kind of work, it's actually cause for celebration, because then you support each other. And when you look at someone else struggling with their issues, you see yourself in them and you have compassion, which then means you really have compassion for yourself. And compassion for the self is one of those activating emotions that brings the polarity together. You may not have the intense polarity like Orion did that can activate their dynamic process, but you have the intense and beautiful ability for self-compassion. And when you see yourself chained to the pole, love that poor self that didn't understand. And that will be the key to your healing.